Ji, Assalamu alaikum everybody. Welcome to the Digital Garage series. Today we are not in the Lahore Systems Garage, but we are in our Karachi offices, and I have a new guest with me today. It is Azhar Nawaz, who's the CIO for Engro. Thank you, Azhar, for being with us today.
Thank you. This is an honor for me that you have invited me for this session, and I've watched your a few of your last episodes, and I think it's a great initiative. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. So what we will be talking about today is digitally enabled enterprises. Engro being one of the market leaders in Pakistan in many aspects, and especially in their digital journey. We will talk through the journey of Engro, the learnings of Engro, the challenges of Engro. We'll also talk about Industry 4.0 and how the world is moving to 5.0 and how do we get there. And finally, we'll talk about employees and their experience in these digitally enabled enterprises, and then we'll conclude. So the story is all about Engro today, and again, I thank you for being here. So let's start with the first area. How is the journey of Engro in the digitally enabled enterprise currently? Where are we? How are we moving? What were the various steps? As the CIO, you've been at the helm of this journey, and I'm sure you have a lot to tell us. So very eager to hear, and everybody is eager to hear this story.
So Engro is, as you know, and Engro is one of the top corporate in Pakistan. Engro is very enterprising organization. It has many companies. It's a conglomerate. And when I came into the company, all the organizations were already on a digital journey. So when I joined, I saw that there were digital journey happening across the group in different organizations. Of course, it was a discrete journey. People were doing things in their own areas. So I looked at it and I said, at least the great thing is that we are on a journey already, and there is an understanding that this is required. So
that's very important.
That's the quality of Engro, right? So in terms of digital maturity, that was the first thing I thought I had to look at. Digital maturity in 2-3 things. I mean, we are as technology people, we look at things in people, process, technology.
Yes, absolutely.
So I thought, okay, let's start from people. Looked at the organization, looked at the processes, and looked at the all 3 areas, and thought that in terms of digital maturity, there's a lot of work required to be done here. So got to work, started developing a strategy.
Yeah.
That was the first thing. So once we had our strategy, we had a lot of sessions with different people, with management, with end users. So after that consultation, we were able to develop a strategy which was acceptable and which was which we thought
inclusive, and you got all the business, because you've got several businesses that,
so it was
and they're
inclusive,
independent.
and we got business buy-in, and there was the consultation went really well.
Yeah.
It took 2 months, but I thought that still because it's an enterprising organization, we could develop that strategy in couple of months.
Absolutely.
And there were key people, there were certain key people who helped us doing that, and with that strategy we developed an organization. We said, okay, to execute this strategy, first we need to look at the organization, how we should be structured. We need a self-sustaining, futuristic organization.
Wow.
So self-sustaining is very important, so that you can bring digital initiatives and all. How can you sustain them? So first pillar of sustaining digital initiatives is people.
Yeah.
So we looked at self-sustaining organization and a future-proof organization. So strategy and organization both came in, and we said, okay, let's move forward.
So just, you used a very interesting word which is very important for digitally enabled enterprises, which is future proofing. So I think just doing that, because a lot of our organizations in our experience miss that part, and future proofing is not just around people and process, about putting that right infrastructure in place as well.
So future proofing has many aspects.
Very
so
interesting.
The first aspect, which I believe is very important, is the governance.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought that governance is key. So we first started putting in the governance processes.
Absolutely.
So we looked at different standard frameworks and then said, okay, what applies to us? right? And then we started, adopting some of the standards from different frameworks and said, okay, for project management, this is what we're going to do, right? For service management, this is what we're going to do, and these are our policies. This is our governance framework. We are a conglomerate. We have different listed entities, different companies. So we needed a framework, a governance framework which applies to all and which all signs off to it.
And I think that's a very important and a message to a lot of conglomerates in Pakistan, that you have to create commonality and understanding. So the brilliant step that you've
So
done.
we started from governance, and as you very rightly mentioned, that the first part of once we did this was to build a solid foundation on which our digital can stand on. So we looked at our foundation. We said, okay, we need the right infrastructure first, right? So that work was already happening before I joined.
Yeah.
So I must give credit where people were, and I think on the infrastructure journey, people were already on the right track.
Yeah.
I can go into details if needed, but we were on the right track on the infrastructure. So the foundation was being built. Along with that, we thought for the first year, we call it, my first year with Engro, we call it a year of technology foundation, in which we did a lot of foundational work around infrastructure, around organization, around bringing people into the organization, around setting right processes, around making processes for service management, making a framework for how we are going to do projects.
So you started a journey. Very good.
So
Excellent.
first year was mostly our foundation. So we set up the foundation, and then on top of that, we thought we'll build on.
And then when did you start the SAP journey? Was it done in parallel? Was it happening? Because the signature for Engro is right now the one SAP.
So again, the credit goes to the people who have already started this journey. So when I joined Engro, one SAP was already in flight. It was happening. First wave was already on the conclusion side. So this was already the project. One SAP was already conceived, already in flow. Half of the companies of wave one were on one SAP. So one SAP, I think, is a game changer for our conglomerate, because what it did was it brought all companies onto one system. It's not only mere bringing all companies onto one system, but it was standardizing most of the processes.
Absolutely.
Right? And making sure that wherever there are commonalities, we bring them onto
change management.
So it's a great change management, and great credit to the people who envisaged this. There was a committee called Bpr.
Okay.
So we had a Bpr committee.
Business process
and
reengineering.
Business
Wow.
process reengineering committee of cross-functional people. People from all functions and all companies, right? So they were all sitting together and looking at how we are changing the processes and trying to adopt standard wherever it's possible. So there are still even today processes which are different.
It's a journey.
They cannot all be standard, but wherever it was possible, we thought, let's standardize processes. Now, once we brought them all onto one platform, what it has enabled now is that now we can look at shared services. We can look at shared services of HR and finance and procurement.
ROI, what return on investment of bringing
So
people together?
so once we have one platform, now we can have shared service for procurement. We can have shared service for finance. Only one SAP has enabled this, because now we have one platform, and also because we have one platform, it's easier to manage and support, and we have a central technology function who is supporting one system rather than 15-20 systems, right? So it's and also now moving forward, when we want to, you mentioned Industry 4.0, when we want to move towards that, we need data, and the data is now on one platform. Most of our data, there are other systems and data at other places. Most of our data is in one SAP, and we can easily then leverage that data. And
so this is very, very interesting, and I think this is one of the largest one SAP implementation of Pakistan.
In the private sector.
In the private sector.
This is one of the largest digital transformation.
Exactly. So So the adoption of it, the change, because we know technology works. Both of us know that we are technologists, so we know technology works. So the adoption of it and getting the right messaging. So I'm just going to move to some of the challenges that you have seen, or from your experience, not just at Engro, but at other organizations. What are the key challenges that you think these digitally enabled enterprises are facing, or are wanting to start but are not able to start? So let's talk about that a little bit.
So even today, if you ask me, I will not claim that we are digitally enabled organization. We are on the journey.
Yeah.
We have set up a foundation. We have set up the functional layer also, as we discussed, the OneSAP and all that. Now I think is the time where we are moving towards digital. We are moving towards now creating solutions around OneSAP, bringing an innovation layer, right, on top of OneSAP, moving towards data-driven decision making.
Cloud.
So now, and of course, the cloud is we have a cloud-first strategy now. Moving forward, we'll be looking at mostly cloud solutions. This is, some of it can be our strategy, but most of it is also driven by the industry now.
Absolutely.
So everything is going towards
Yeah.
cloud first, and the scalability and the benefits which it brings with the cloud adoption. So now we think that we are moving towards digital, and we have a strategy and we have an aim, and we want to get to where we call that our organization is digitally enabled, and our aim is that we want to make Engro intelligent integrated enterprise. So
Great.
that's the aim. So we are on the journey of integration. We have done a lot of integration. We have implemented a lot of automations. There are certain pockets where we are still doing automation and implementing integration. The next step is intelligence.
Absolutely.
So we are moving towards integrated intelligent enterprise. You spoke about the challenges. I see that technology, the way it's moving quickly, and the way the things are changing with the speed. Technology is a challenge in itself, but I feel the major challenge is how you align with business, how you work with the real people, the people who are decision makers, the people who can make difference. So how you align with them, how you make sure that you understand what the business strategy is, and it's onus on us, the CIOs, the CTOs, to go and understand the business strategy and align your strategy to the business strategy. Move yourself towards business. IT for the sake of IT is nothing. I believe IT for the sake of business. And so the challenge is, how do we bring ourselves closer to the business and create this alignment?
So from my side, I think you've just highlighted a brilliant point about the business alignment and IT. What I see missing in a lot of, and maybe Engro is different, is that does IT or the CIO or CTO have the right seat on the table? Because I keep saying this, until seat on the table is there, you can't make those decisions. And slowly this is happening, but I think this is the biggest challenge. And the point that you made in the beginning about having a strategy and getting the business buy-in is huge. Technology will do whatever business wants us to do. So look at COVID. You have those examples. Everybody has examples. If somebody had asked me on 20th March 2020 that 3,000 people of systems will go home and work from home, I would say no way. But 23rd March, COVID restrictions come in and everybody is working from home. Technology worked.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have those examples in Engro.
Look, when COVID restrictions came, if we didn't have technology, our business would have stopped.
Absolutely.
Right? So the technology, the infrastructure, the solutions which were there helped our business continuity. Right? So if the technology was not there, we would, it would be so hard to continue the business.
Yeah.
Right? So technology supported it. The example which there's a very interesting example. One day I received a call from CEO of our fertilizer business, Nader Qureshi. He called me, said, I have a problem. There's restriction of movement. How do we continue selling?
Yeah.
And I need a technology solution, right? So we said, okay, we all sat together. Idea came from the Efort CEO, but we all sat together and said, okay, we need to make an application where we facilitate this sale online, right? So within couple of months, we came up with the basic version of an application. We said, okay, we roll this out, and we provided that application to all our dealers and say, okay, here you go. There's a restriction of movement, but you can use this application to place orders and all that. And today, we have achieved 200 billion rupees sale through that application.
Just the pivoting for COVID.
So I mean, this
That's
is
pivoting.
This is the technology. This is what technology can do. It's not the same basic version now.
Yeah,
There are a lot of
course.
improvements have come into that application, and that has really now become an ecosystem, and we are moving this towards an ecosystem now. In-app payments and and there's great adoption. And now, as you said, that Engro is a trendsetter. So now the others are also following this trend. They say, oh, here is an opportunity. So others are following it.
So if I ask you from a 1 to 5 scale of maturity, would you say Engro is what, 3, 4, somewhere around that, and moving
Yeah, I mean
towards-
somewhere around 3, but from here onwards, it's difficult to get to 4. It's very hard.
Very difficult
To get to 3. You can get your automation right, you can get your foundation, you can bring functional things in, but from here onwards, to make sure that the data you have got, you make sense of it. How do you translate your data into an information so that you can use it for decision making?
So this is what leads us to Industry 4.0. So
Yeah.
Industry 4.0, you've heard me before, we've talked about it a lot, is about man and machine. It's
Yeah.
all about that. And Pakistan, unfortunately, is not getting the right progress in this area. Now the world is moving to 5.0 and beyond. We'll not talk about that. We'll stay on 4.0. The whole man and machine is a huge opportunity for conglomerates like Engro.
Yeah.
How do we take that information and put it into data to unify it and then do more about it? How's that discussion? You talked about, so cover 2 areas. You talked about cloud first, because for me, organizations' digital enterprise or their journey to digital has a big portion, which is cloud data, and then the industry frameworks. So let's talk about a bit of that. What is Engro looking for the future? How is that discussions going on? Are we going to see Engro into a real industry 4.0 kind of a model or moving towards that?
So the first, when you were talking about challenges, so one thing I would really like to mention here is that talent is a serious challenge in our industry. So I wanted to go back to that and say this, because we really struggle to find the right talent. Right? When we said, okay, we want to set up a future-proof organization, we want right people in terms of we want to set up an enterprise service management setup where it's not only IT services. All services are provided from one platform. So all finance services, all shared services have one platform. So it's an enterprise service management. We're not looking at IT, we're looking at enterprise, how we can provide solutions. Absolutely. So we are looking at enterprise document management solution. We're looking at enterprise project management solution. We're looking at how we bring innovation into the enterprise. So that's what we're looking at. So we really struggle with talent.
Because and in talent, and we'll come to the industry 4.0, I just don't call it talent these days. For me, it's the digital leadership that attracts that talent. And digital leadership is beyond IT.
Yeah.
Correct? IT is there and tech is there and CTO. It's the rest of the organization, like the organization has come forward and adopted one SAP for Engro. I think that digital leadership needs to now move towards that next stage where the talent.
So I mean, I'm lucky that I'm with Engro, because when I said we developed that strategy, and when I went and presented that strategy, people were queuing up, say, where do I sign it?
Yeah.
Where do I sign? Tell me, where do I sign? There were no questions that, oh, we don't need this, why that. So the senior leadership of Engro was queuing up, tell me, where do I sign for this? and how much I need to pay for this. They were the questions why, how these questions were not there.
Perfect.
They said, oh,
And
this
this
is
is a
great
big
strategy.
example.
We need this, and I think this is the right thing to do, and we are on the right track, and this is what we need to do. So the senior leadership
The
commitment was
digital
there.
leadership is there, so that's where talent is a huge problem in systems.
Yeah, so
and everywhere else.
the digital leadership is there.
Yeah.
Digital
Now
leadership
we
is
need to
there.
bring that
But
talent.
I mean, the digital leadership and the commitment is there.
Yeah.
But now making sure that while we're moving forward and moving from 3 to 4
Yes.
becomes difficult, we take our digital leadership along to make sure that they understand what we're saying, and when the complexity is increasing, we need to take them along.
Yeah.
That's a bigger challenge.
That's
a very
huge
difficult.
So that's where the next question of mine. So cloud first is not easy,
Yeah.
correct? Because we are all used to owning things, correct? So when we put things on cloud, people are, oh, where is it going? And then taking all that information that is coming out of the machine and put man and machine concept industry 4.0. How are you progressing to that?
So look, on the we have divided our the organization. We have looked. Okay, we said, okay, I've worked at many different big organizations. I've done many projects of international and national complexity and importance. But when I came into Engro, I looked at it. I said, oh, here is a different complexity. It's a very complex organization, different business lines, different companies. All companies have their different directions. How do I bring all of this together? So when I looked at that, I said, I need to figure out how do I manage this.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, let's divide our organization horizontally. We said, okay, let's look at this as 5 functions. And by that I mean, okay, it's from supply chain to finance to commercial to HR and to manufacturing. I said, okay, I have these 5 functions. These are the 5 areas I need to work for. Let's forget about the companies right now. Let's pivot and let's focus on these 5 areas.
Yeah.
Right. So with OneSap, I think we have a lot of solutions for finance. On top of OneSap, we did a lot of automation for HR, but on top of OneSap, we are doing a lot of HR transformation solutions. And our CEO Gayas is very proud of HR transformation, which Engro has done, not only on the technology side, but on the processes and bringing all the best practices into HR. So that finance work and HR work has happened there. With OneSap, now we're trying to use that platform to create shared services for procurement, so supply chain and all that, shared services for finance, HR and procurement. The next important and bigger area, and we have also done a lot of work around commercial, as I told you, around eFood commercial. We created applications. The next area where we need to focus, and Engro is a manufacturing concern, is our manufacturing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not an easy area to bring automation and digitization into. So it's a bigger challenge. Our strategy now is, while once we were doing OneSap, we have implemented SAP programs around manufacturing, where we said, okay, let's implement plant maintenance, let's implement production planning.
So
let's
the
implement,
floor has to start.
So some of the things we have brought in, but how do we now connect ERPs and other systems with the plant floor
With the
machinery.
and the machines, and get that data,
yeah.
and then put the AI and machine learning and on top of
So I mean, so we have machine data in a different silo. We have ERP data, other application data in a different silo. How do we unify this?
and then put a layer of analytics on top of it.
That's
the secret
so
sauce.
if today I hear people saying, oh, let's do AI, ML and all that, I look at that, okay, that's fine, but we need to first do the basics, right? We need to integrate all of these silos, bring all data, unify it, and once you have all dimensions of data at one place, and not only that data, but the data has to be cleansed, data has to be good quality data, has to be governed, and make sure that you can trust that data.
Absolutely.
Right. So there has to be data governance process around it. You have to make sure that whatever at the entry point, at all the points, people are following certain processes and standards, that the data which we are generating, we can use that tomorrow for analytics.
So I think what you're talking about right now is really encouraging, because I see the awareness, correct? The step one to every problem solution is that awareness. And I'm sure the strategy and execution is going to come about, because this is the key to 4.0, is to understand that data, to unify it, and then to start using it.
Yeah.
And then get all the IoTs and gadgets and all that on the machine, so that they can all interact with each other. And the human can then start to interpret it. That's the main thing.
So most of the machines, most of the modern machines have all sorts of sensors on them.
It's there already.
And they are generating data.
Oh, absolutely. We're not
Tons of
doing
data.
much
We're not
about it.
using that.
That's
but
where
data is there.
Yeah. So I
Data is
think
there.
that's a big journey that Engro has the next step. So we understand the cloud first, and we understand the industry 4.0. And I think I'm very encouraged that this is a journey that should follow and will continue. While you take one SAP to shared services, and the next thing, Engro goes into the industry 4.0, man in the machine, and then goes to that.
So Engro is already into it. It's not that
takes the journey
I'm just
forward.
saying that it's not that it's now we are starting. So Engro has implemented APM at one of our energy plants in 2016.
Wow.
Right, so that APM can predict how the reliability of the machines are and stuff. But these initiatives were in different silos.
Now they have to become.
So now we are looking at bringing them all together and developing a strategy. Of course, as part of this strategy, some of our companies may be ahead of the journey, ahead of the curve. Some will follow, but we are trying to make sure that when we say, okay, there is one initiative or one project which makes sense for all of us, we bring all of them together. And the central digital group, we are positioned in a way that we can bring all of them together and say, guys, this is what we are looking at as a pain point, and we see digital can bring a solution like this. What do you think? So start having that dialogue. And put all of them around the table, start having that dialogue, and then the solution will come out of it.
Great. So we talked about so much about Engro and how Engro has transformed. I always say, to get good customers and get the digitally enabled enterprise to work, there's a second part of it, which is the employees. Employees have to feel that they are part of a digitally enabled enterprise. How is that working out? I am sure it's working out, because you can't have a journey even from at a level 3 in this maturity, as we say, or going towards 4. The employee experience, how's that working out? You talked about HR a bit. So how do you think that's working out?
So you know Iram, right?
Yes.
So employee experience is very, very close to his heart. He's always talking about, you are bringing this solution. What is the experience like? Is it intuitive? Can people use this? Right? Can they use this without a manual? Can they use the system without any training? Right? If they can do that, he says, yeah, this is a good customer experience. This is a good employee experience. Otherwise, it's not. So we do have a big focus on employee experience, customer experience, productivity, efficiency. These are around controls. These are our certain KPIs which we always track. So you talked about HR. Our CPO Rizwan Raja, he's also big on, as I said, our CEO is focused on HR transformation. The CPO is also very focused on HR transformation. He is quite tech savvy himself, and he wants digital transformation. So they are always, both Iram and Rizwan are always talking about how we can improve employee experience. When I started looking at how do we create a strategy, what is our strategy, what our strategy should be looking like, employee experience was one part of that. So we thought, okay, in terms of technology, how can we, before we talk about anything business, how can, as a technology, we can improve employee experience? So we said, okay, let's bring collaboration tools. Let's bring things where how can employee interact better with the organization. So we said, okay, let's do automation around all employee interaction processes with the organization.
I
So
was
we said
expecting that.
we documented around 98 processes. We said let's automate all of them. So we brought certain SAP solutions for SuccessFactors and others, and then we said okay, bring admin processes into it as well. So we are in the process of automating all of those processes. So from one interface, employee can access all these services, and they have to be intuitive and
Great.
So these are the things we are working on
Perfect.
the employee side. In terms of I also spoke about mobile first. So we are now this is something which we have recently started to look at. We wanted to create an employee facing app for Engro where we provide all employee interactions with the organization on one app. So this is something which we are already looking at.
I think you're just confirming what we keep saying. Without a digitally enabled employee experience, we can't have a digitally enabled customer experience. Because
you have to make life of your employees easy,
and
so that they can perform their job better.
And they are then become the ambassadors to the next digital experience for our customers. I think, Azhar, it's been a pleasure having you on the Digital Garage. I think the conversation, we've just scratched the surface. I know a lot of hard work has been put by Engro, and I think Engro will lead our way into an industry 4.0, have the right governance, as you said, it has digital leadership. Now we need to take that. Technology is there. We just need to now bring this forward. So I thank you. Thank you for your very good narration of the journey of Engro. And I think it's exciting for us in Pakistan that there is an organization like Engro which is doing that. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me onto this. I'll thank you again. We are trying, and I think it's still there's a long way for us to get to where we want to get to.
It's a journey.
But our aim is to become an integrated intelligent enterprise, and then we'll say okay. So we have transformed the organization into a truly digital organization where we have also helped business in terms of how they were conducting business, and we have brought that change. That's our aim.
Perfect. Thank you everybody. Thank you for watching the Digital Garage series. We'll be back with our next episode. This was exciting, and the next episode is going to be even more exciting. Thank you again.